Attitude measurement is a very broad concept. Today, I will be focusing on measuring attitudes using Likert scales. Likert scales consist of a series of opinion statements. The respondent is expected to answer these opinion statements using a numerical scale. The first and last numbers will indicate the strongest agreement or strongest disagreement with the statements. It's likely that you remember completing one or many of these in your lifetime for various purposes. The Likert scale is widely used today because of how much gray area the respondent has without having to be either or on an issue. This makes Likert scales a useful tool for measuring attitudes on controversial topics. Today, I will be sharing a personal experience I have had constructing and participating in Likert scale questionnaires. I was enrolled in Conduct of Communication here at UTSA with Professor Charles Mahood, who specializes in the effect of media. Our final was a group project that revolved around the impact media has on our beliefs. After collaborating, my group had come to a consensus and chosen to analyze the impact that Twitter had on our belief in controversial topics. The Likert scale would give us the opportunity to measure opinions in a way that we could later turn to statistics. Our Likert scale consisted of about 15 opinion statements. Some of the statements involved the amount of time that was spent on Twitter, whether or not they fact-checked the information they saw on Twitter, and what they chose to do with that information. Creating these statements for the scale was one of the hardest, most frustrating assignments I have ever had to do. My group had to redo the questions multiple times. I felt like we would never be able to write good questions. It was challenging to come up with statements that avoided biased wording and to figure out exactly what information we wanted to get from the survey. Eventually, the survey helped to support our hypothesis. We also provided helpful information to the other groups in the class by participating in their surveys. Now that I have discussed my personal experience with Likert scales, I will make some inferences. While the Likert scale proved to be a useful tool for measuring attitudes, it is only an effective tool if the questions are written properly. Otherwise, you risk the results being skewed. The Likert scale is not the only form of attitude measurement that requires careful construction. The other scales, such as the Gutman scale and the semantic differential, also require careful format and wording. However, this chapter taught me that there is no perfect attitude scale. No matter how many precautions the creator or creators of the survey might take, they still must face the potential for inaccuracy from things like respondents being careless, people wanting to say what they feel is socially acceptable, or even the tendency to agree regardless of the content. Thinking in terms of outside of a school project, it is safe to assume that surveys can apply to all kinds of things. Surveys can be used by marketers, advertisers, politicians, management, and so much more. In conclusion, Likert scales are a cost-effective and beneficial way to measure attitudes. Even though they have their weaknesses, their simplicity makes it easy for participants to give their opinion without any pressure to provide the researcher with the right answer. The text in this chapter helped to create a new social reality in relationship to attitude measurement because it explores various ways that measured attitudes can answer researchers' questions. However, I feel like a way that we can act differently in light of the discussion is to be open to use other ways to measure attitudes, even if they aren't as cost-effective as Likert scales. By exploring other ways to measure attitude, we can get more in-depth and accurate than surveys allow us to. For example, using a focus group to measure attitudes can help tap into the deeper meaning that researchers might be looking for. Rather than just a yes or a no question, they can help you find the answer of why. As a researcher, no matter what kind of attitude measurement tool you are using, it is important to remember that your end goal should be to generate honest, genuine responses. As a participant, even though a survey might not seem that important to you, you should still participate so you can make your voice heard. Natalie Angier once said, "Surveys show that surveys never lie." Thank you.